Hey guys, Jordan with TYT and TYT Politics. I did a video earlier going into Donald Trump, or excuse me, President Trump's tax cuts for the rich. Socialism is alive in America, just for the rich. So you could go check that out on the Young Turks YouTube. I wanted to do another video on New Jersey Senator Cory Booker. He's already being rumored among the Washington establishment as becoming, the odds-on favorite for the Democratic nomination in 2020. Has never met a camera he doesn't love, and on Saturday he was at the Women's March, and he was wearing a pink scarf at the Women's March in D.C. So Cory Booker, right on cue for that photo op. But I wanted to tell you something he said, which is the height of hypocrisy and frankly disgusting. And of course, since he was being interviewed by CNN, they didn't call him on it because CNN has no interest in challenging the powerful. So, Senator Cory Booker, if you weren't aware, last week, Senator Bernie Sanders and Senator Amy Klobuchar had put forward an amendment that would have made prescription drugs that are imported to the United States from Canada cheaper. That sounds good, right? Well, Cory Booker, along with 13 other Democrats, voted against making drugs cheaper, importing cheaper drugs from Canada to the United States. He gave as an explanation a nonsense pharmaceutical company talking point that, the amendment that Bernie put forward didn't have a safety certificate attached to it, that you need that safety certificate attached to the amendment for Cory Booker to vote for it. This safety certificate is literally a pharmaceutical industry talking point. That's what pharmaceutical industry companies say in response to any legislation that tries to make imported drugs from places like Canada cheaper for Americans. That's why the pharmaceutical industry is against them, because no guarantee you could get that safety certificate. Well, Cory Booker, who voted against this, and he said he voted for the Wyden Amendment, which had that safety certificate. So again, he just put his name on the Wyden Amendment, knowing that it would never actually, the safety certificate, 9 times out of 10, never comes. So basically, it was a symbolic vote that wouldn't do anything. For the actual vote that would, Cory Booker voted against it because he takes millions and millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical industry. Now, I want to tell you what he said on CNN. Again, wearing his pink scarf in the crowd at the Women's March. He said, if you're a Republican or Democrat, you did not vote to have 30 million Americans lose their health insurance. You did not vote to put insurance companies back in charge of your health insurance. You really can't make this stuff up, folks. So Cory Booker says, if you're a Republican or a Democrat, you did not vote to have 30 million Americans lose their health insurance. You did not vote to put insurance companies back in charge of your health insurance. But insurance companies are in charge of you, Senator Booker. So it's the height of hypocrisy for him to stand up there holding a pink scarf, to be a man of the women, trying to play himself up, to get a photo op at the Women's March, endear himself to female voters. And he's talking about, people who voted for Trump didn't vote for, 30 million people losing their health insurance. He's talking about, of course, the repeal of Obamacare. Yet you just voted for something that is going to kill women and men. When you make it impossible for people who can't afford the outrageously high-priced drugs that the United States has, when you vote against those people being able to buy cheaper drugs from places like Canada, you, not directly, but indirectly, there are cases that women and men are not going to be able to afford their life-saving prescriptions, and they're going to die. And that's what you voted against. A bill that would have made it cheaper to import drugs from Canada. And you have the gall to, on CNN, say, oh, people didn't vote for the insurance industry to be, in charge again. This is what's wrong with the country. Of course, Trump is dangerous. Again, I just did a video on him earlier about his ridiculous tax cuts for the rich. And I'm going to do more on Trump. But let's not let the Democratic Party con us either. Let's not let them get away with political murder, so to speak. And if I was interviewing Cory Booker at the Women's March and he said this, I would have held his feet to the fire and I would have grilled him. But of course, what did Brooke Baldwin of CNN do? Instead of actually challenging him and saying, well, you're sitting here talking about how we can't let the pharmaceutical industries and the insurance companies, run our lives and run the show, yet you just voted for legislation that pretty much is a pharmaceutical for the pharmaceutical industry. You voted against helping people get cheaper drugs. What was the tough probing question the CNN anchor asked Cory Booker? Can you tell us now, are you going to run in 2020 for president? Of course! And Cory Booker, deflected and obfuscated. Until Democrats are called to the carpet and are held accountable for their platitudes that they throw out while they vote against working people, while they vote against people who need life-saving drugs, we're going to keep going in this cyclical pattern of nonsense and of Democrats offering you platitudes, but offering you nothing in terms of legislation. And don't get me wrong, the Republicans are just as bad. The Democrats are not worse than the Republicans, but they're not as good as as their rhetoric makes them out to be. And when the media allows Cory Booker to throw softballs out there time after time and allows him to have photo ops with his pink scarf at the Women's March and doesn't challenge him on his hypocrisy and his contradictory statements where, oh, let me read it to you one more time. If you're a Republican or Democrat, you did not vote to have 30 million Americans lose their health insurance. You did not vote to put insurance companies back in charge of your health insurance. Give me a break. Give me a break. You just voted against cheaper drugs, imported drugs. And you have to live with that. And progressives are going to hold you accountable, Senator Booker. Short, sweet, to the point. Thanks for watching, guys.